So we're going to be talking about OpenAI. OpenAI are the creators of ChatGPT, and when it comes to building complex AI-powered workflows, it is a great tool to use. So we'll cover how we use it in later modules, but let's just talk about setting it up and just getting started. So the first thing you want to do is to head over to OpenAI, create an account. And when you log in, you'll be greeted with these two options. We want to go into the API. And basically, we'll have access to the OpenAI dashboard. Now, the way how OpenAI works is that they are a service, right? So every time you prompt, you will be charged a specific fee, and the fee is based on tokens, and the tokens roughly translate to the amount of characters that you put into the model and the amount of characters that you get out of the model. So it's always good to understand, what are we paying for? It is important that we do set up our billing and account details. So if I go into my settings, I should have my billing details set up. And you want to just have it set up, and you can do things where you can have auto recharge. So this is really useful. So you might find that, when you're working with clients, you're using a lot of ChatGPT for them, and you don't want to make sure the automation stops because you don't have any money in the account. Auto recharge is great to just have it turned on. So then, when you reach a certain threshold, it will charge your card again. So we'll talk about more about like how we can optimize costs for our clients. But let's just set it up. Let's just start going, and we just want to add our card details in the billing section. I'm going to talk about setting up for different clients, and I think this is important, right? So if we go back to the dashboard, let's just navigate to where we need to go. So basically, what we want to do is we want to set up an API key, and what you might find is that you might want to create different API keys for different scenarios or different clients. And the way how we set up an API key is very simple. We just go up here, we go create a new key, and we can name it anything we want. I might just call this one operator, and the project. We can either create a new project, so maybe we call this right, and then we can just create this. And then this is the key. This key is really important because we're going to use that key later on in make.com and set up this integration. So we're just going to copy this and never share this key with anyone. Just save it in wherever you have a safe place where you can kind of save it, and then we can use that later on. So once we've got that key, we hit done. We should have that automation operator. We've got that secret key, and yeah, we are in a good state. The next thing is just making sure that, we're going to be using OpenAI, right? And usage costs are important to be tracking and keeping on top of. So one thing that is a great thing that you can kind of do is you can track the usage based on specific clients, right? Specific projects. So the best way to do this is when I created this key, right? Automation operator, there was an option for it to have a project, and you can, when you have a specific project value, you can then see the usage here. So if I go to activity, I've got this client that I've been tracking. I've done 127 requests, and I've been using the Whisper model, and I've been using ChatGPT 4. I've done 94 requests. So this is just really useful to keep on top of these costs. These are very minimal costs, but if your client has a very major part of their workflow in which they're using ChatGPT and Make.com, these costs can begin to balloon, and it's good to just keep an eye on it. So that's just a little bit about OpenAI, and let's just go and set up an integration with Make.com. All right, so we're just going to log into Make.com and we're going to set up that OpenAI connection. So we can just click on add and find the OpenAI module. So we just find that, click that. We're just going to go to create a completion, and don't worry about this stuff for now. So if we click on the OpenAI module, we'll have the ability to set up the connection, and for the first time we're going to need to add this. So if we just click on add, this is where we're going to need the API key and the organization ID. So that API key was that key that I showed in that previous step, and obviously we want to make sure that we never really share this API key. And also, if you are making tutorials in the future, try not to share this, because if people have your API key, then you'll be in a lot of trouble. The other thing you need is the organization ID, and it's very easy to find it if you just click this OpenAI org. You'll find it here. So I'm going to grab my org settings. Let's go back. Just add that there. I'm going to add my API key. And always, just good habit is to just name the connection. I'm just going to call this automation. Right. Just hit save. Beautiful. So now we've just added that, and we can use ChatGPT in our workflows. So that's just setting up OpenAI, and we'll be using this quite a lot in future tutorials and modules. So now that you're set up, go ahead and play around with it, and I'll see you in the next module.